So,
Dude, you know who we forgot?
who?
Chris Middleton.
Oh my god.
Cash Chris.
Batman, Chris Middleton?
Yeah,
Batman?
that man. Woo! We back at it. We back at it. Off
Yes,
Topic
sir.
Pod episode. What are we at? 4 now.
4.
4. You guys have no idea the struggle that we just went through to get all this stuff figured out before the pod. We were having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, we're actually fine right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the audio or video or both just suck right now and we have no idea, but we're recording anyways.
If you're hearing it, though, it sounds good. So, or okay. If it sounds bad, you wouldn't be hearing this. So, if you're watching this, everything has gone according to plan.
At least, close enough to plan. Because last one, the audio wasn't that great, but we still put it out.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting that. There's a lot of stuff that just comes up with the recording. We're like, well, we already recorded and we're not going to throw this away. We did that once
Yeah.
because it was just god awful,
Yeah.
but that's a different story. We bossed up.
And it really sucks doing it too, because like, especially for the one that we actually deleted, that was an hour and a half conversation, and we kind of replicated it for the episode with Noah, but I didn't think our conversation was as good.
No.
But I still thought it was good, but it just wasn't as good. So it sucked that we had to delete it, but that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, roll it with the punches.
Yeah,
You gotta do what you gotta do. First off, thank you guys so much for breaking 100 views on the first episode. I was expecting to get like 5 views, not even kidding. So for you guys to even get close to 100 and break it, like, that's pretty
yeah,
dope. That's pretty dope. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate the support. Hopefully we got better stuff coming your way. We got a banger coming out for you guys
yeah.
pretty
We got
soon.
banger
We
coming out.
got that in the works.
It's probably gonna be the next episode, as long as everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, we just got to schedule with some people and go from there. So I'll
Yeah.
talk to you about that later. But
So
stay tuned for that. Fun stuff coming your way. What do we have for you today? It's
we're
strictly
doing a
basketball.
current, yeah,
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 so
all
if you guys don't
basketball.
care, just leave, you know.
Press the X button,
Yeah,
open a new tab, do
no
whatever
hard
you're doing
feelings.
before.
No hard feelings. We get that some of y'all are not hoopers like us. So that's cool. That's cool. We're not tripping. But we're doing a fantasy draft. Current players, not all time or anything, because we're not old heads like that. At least I'm not. But that's what we're going to be doing today. You guys are more than welcome to leave your opinions, hit us up, questions, debate us. I don't know. Get
Yeah,
shut
let us
down.
let us know who has the better team at the end. That too.
Yeah. Honestly, if you guys if we get enough opinions about like whose team is better, we could like post that, or we could like do simulation in 2K or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'd
That'd
be
be
down.
cool. Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay. All
But
right.
yeah,
So
to go over some of the rules for our fantasy draft. Obviously, just us two, so we're gonna flip a coin to see who gets the first pick, and then we're not gonna do snake draft. We're gonna do alternate. So if Hamza gets the first pick, he'll pick first, and then I'll pick, and then I'll go back to him, and we'll just go back and forth. Um, there's more than 10 roster spots, but there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the bench. We're only going to do 10 picks. So there will be 3, 4, 5. There'll be 3 open spots at the end, but we'll do 10 picks each. We'll have a starting 5 and then 5 players off the bench.
do you want to do like honorable mentions for those like maybe 2 or 3 of the spots at the end that are available? Like,
Yeah, we could. Yeah, but I
okay,
think our main team, like,
just the first
no
10.
NBA team plays every single player in a game, so I just feel like 10-man roster is honestly pushing it, but because
That's
it's
pushing
just
it,
us
yeah.
two, like, I don't think
Yeah.
it matters.
All
It's
right.
just for fun anyway. But yeah, so I am going to flip the coin. I'm gonna have Hamza call it. If he gets it right, he's gonna get the first pick. If
Tails.
it's you want tails, okay. It's heads, so I get the first pick. And for my first pick, I have a draft board. I made a nice little draft board.
Oh, you went all out with this, bro.
On my
I'm
notes.
gonna be
I, I,
spitballing
did,
as I go through this.
I didn't I just wanted to make sure I had a list of players so I wouldn't forget someone. because I don't want to get fucked like towards the end. I feel like the first 5 picks are going to be like
Pretty
they should be fine.
consensus.
Yeah, I don't think the starting 5 is really going to be like that different in terms of like who has the better one. I think the bench is what really makes like the team. But with my first pick, I'm gonna go with LeBron. LeBron will be my first pick.
At the point?
I'm just picking right now. I'll move players around, um, but like he may end up being my point guard. But we'll just see how everything goes.
All right.
So yeah, now you have the
My
second
first pick.
pick.
Let me get. There's two guys I'm debating between.
Or Katie and Giannis.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
feel like, and even with my first pick, I was debating between Katie and Giannis and LeBron, so I wasn't really sure, but
Let me get Giannis at the small forward.
I like that. I don't know how to. Yeah,
Two
there we
ends,
go.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Giannis is off
Do we
the
want to
board.
explain our like pickings, or you just go through it? Because if we just go through it, it'll
Um.
be pretty quick.
Yeah. I'll explain my pick. I'm just gonna go with LeBron. Oh, geez, I didn't get the. I want LeBron on the Lakers. Here we go. Cool. Um. I just went LeBron because he's very versatile. He can be my point guard on my team. He could also play the 3 or the 4. So I just feel like having that versatility. And I think when LeBron is healthy, this is assuming players are healthy, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I forgot to mention that because Kawhi is probably going to get picked and he's not going to play at all probably next season. But yeah, LeBron definitely, it's like when he's healthy at this point in his career, he isn't an average to above average defender. But because we're picking these great talents in the NBA, I don't think defense is really going to be a problem for him. He's going to be able to take over my playmaking responsibilities. So I just think he's a good first pick, and I'll be able to surround a good team around him.
Solid. Okay. I took Giannis because y'all saw what he did in the finals. Y'all saw what he did in the playoffs. Dude is unstoppable. He put 50 on the Suns in a closeout game in the finals, in game 6. And that's with like being a pretty terrible shooter. So completely unstoppable, like 6'11", pretty much 7-footer. That's like one of the most athletic dudes in the league. Gets to the rim anytime he wants. In the pick and roll, he's unstoppable as like the roll man. Uh, he's scary. He's scary, and that's on both ends of the floor too. Like 2-time
Yep,
defensive player of the year, or was it 2-time or just once?
just once.
Okay, well yeah,
Two-time MVP,
defensive player of
one-time
the
deep play.
year, 2-time MVP. Like you can't go wrong with that.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think picking Giannis over KD or LeBron is honestly a bad move.
Yeah.
I think it's just how you surround that player. Now, this next pick is tough for me. I'm debating between 2 players, KD or Kawhi. Man, hmm. I think I think I'm gonna go Kawhi. I'm gonna go Kawhi over KD. Here we go. What made me pick Kawhi over KD? It's mainly defense, and I think when we get deeper into picking the teams, Kawhi isn't gonna have to take so much of the offensive workload. So even though current Kawhi has maybe take a step back defensively compared to like what he's been able to do in his past seasons, I think not having as much offensive responsibility, I think he's going to give you elite defense, and then he's still capable of creating his own shot. He's an improved playmaker. So I don't, in terms of like comparing him to KD, I think the defense is what really separates him from KD. And I think he's just as great of a scorer as KD. So,
Really, just as great of a scorer? There's no way.
dude, Kawhi is giving you 30 points in the playoffs
Guarded by
on each
who?
Does it matter? Do we say that about Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant was guarded by PJ Tucker the entire Milwaukee series, and he carried that team. You could not stop him. KD's one of the
Okay.
greatest scorers of all time.
I'm sure PJ Tucker could do the same thing. Like he could guard, not in the same way as Kevin Durant, but Kawhi can still give you 30 points on good efficiency,
Um,
just like Kevin Durant can.
I
So what's the difference?
I just think KD is a better. Like he does it all over. Like the range, the mid range, getting to the rim, finishing. I would just take KD over Kawhi. That's not to say Kawhi like isn't great. He's still amazing on offense, but I'm taking KD on offense over Kawhi any day.
That's fine. That's fine. I want Kawhi. I want the defensive versatility.
Yeah, I'm with that. My second pick, I'm gonna go KD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that you took Kawhi, but I'm taking KD for sure. Dude's a walking bucket. Uh, who'll drop buckets on anyone's head. Like you have one of the greatest players in Giannis. Giannis and Chris Middleton and PJ Tucker were guarding him the whole Bucks Nets series, and KD was still putting buckets on like anyone's head who was guarding him. So there's really no stopping this dude. Like 7-footer with range, handle, finishing capability, improved defender too. Like he's not on Kawhi's level, but with Giannis's kind of like issues on offense, I'm more than happy to make up for that with KD and his offensive versatility.
I think these are the consensus top 4 picks in the
Yeah.
All Star draft. I don't think you could pick anyone else. My next pick, this is pretty easy for me. I need someone to match up with Giannis. I'm gonna pick Anthony Davis. Just defensively, he can also switch on to guards. He's able to space out the floor. He's most likely going to be my center. Um, Currently, right now, he's my center. We'll see what happens. I may pick someone else later, where he might run power forward. But I think he matches up pretty well, or very well, against Giannis, and he's able to space out the floor. For LeBron, he obviously has the chemistry with LeBron already. I just feel like Anthony Davis is the perfect fit. And when he's healthy, I think I would rather have Anthony Davis over, other centers like Joel Embiid or Jokic. So that's why I'm going Anthony Davis
Okay.
with my third pick.
Okay. My third pick, give me Curry. I need someone to run the offense, play make, and also provide elite shooting. We all know what Curry's capable of. We've seen it in the playoffs plenty of times, and in the regular season too. Dude's a killer, and especially watching him this past season, dude, he was so fun to watch when the offense was just him. He was putting buckets on everyone. It was like there's nothing you can do to stop him. So, Curry for sure.
All right. I still think I need a little bit more playmaking and scoring. I may take a step back a little bit in perimeter defense, but I hope to make that up in later picks. I'm going to pick Harden. I just think his playmaking, especially when he joined the Nets, is like at an all-time high. So not only do I have LeBron as a main or a possible playmaker, I also have Harden, and Harden most likely he may even be my like main ball handler. But even when he's not, I think he's great off the ball. I think he fits well. Like if he fits well with Kyrie and KD, I think he's going to do just fine with LeBron, Kawhi, and AD at this point. I don't think any of these guys really demand the ball too much. I think we'll be able to not spread the ball, pass the ball around, and no one's going to be, there's no one like a Luka. Yeah, like Luka at times can be a ball stopper. So, and even though like I'm taking a little bit of a step back on defense, Harden's most likely going to be paired up with Curry, and I think Harden. It's hard to guard Curry, so I'm not going to say James Harden is going to lock up Curry, but I don't think he's not going to struggle. Like he'll be able to defend, and plus we have other defenders. We're going to have great players, so Harden may not even be matched up on Curry, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But I'm taking Harden for playmaking and shooting.
Understandable. Okay. When you said you're gonna give up defense, I thought you were gonna take Luca.
No, I'm not taking Luka over Harden, bro. They're very similar, but I would rather have Harden.
Understandable. My fourth pick, I want. This is a little tough. Give me Jokic.
Jokic, okay,
The debate was between Jokic and Embiid because I want a big, but
yeah,
what Jokic provides that Embiid doesn't is elite vision and playmaking. Like just a super high IQ guy who knows where to be, knows where to put the ball. Uh, like there's a video that came out the other day on Insta. It's like he was telling Monte Morris where to
mm,
stand under the basket, where it's like you just get a free layup. So a guy like that on my team, along with all the offensive capability, like yeah, sure he's a step back defensively, but I think his upside on offense weighs out the defensive capability that someone like Embiid could bring. So
mhm,
that's gonna be my sensor right there.
for sure. I actually thought you may have picked Embiid because in terms of I like the fit. I think Jokic, especially paired up with Curry, like that's just gonna be good.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought maybe because you had Curry, maybe you wouldn't want two players that are like at best average defenders on your team, especially when I have, Anthony Davis and I have LeBron, Harden. I don't know. I thought you maybe would have gone Embiid for more defense, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad pick. I
Yeah.
like the fit with Curry and Kevin Durant. That's pretty insane to think about. All right. So got Harden. This is tough. I could get another big. Could also go with another guard. I think for my next pick. Hmm. For my, let me see your lineup again. I think for my next pick, I'm gonna go with I think I'm gonna go with Dame. I'm gonna go Dame for my next pick. I just think he will honestly most likely come off my bench. Um, but as a six man, I think Damian Lillard is just gonna be better than any player that you have off coming off the bench. Obviously, we haven't gotten to the bench for you technically yet, but I just think he will be the best six man on either of our rosters. So
Mm.
when I either sub out James Harden or even LeBron, I'll be able to put in Dame, and I'll be able to have two, playmakers. Dame's an elite shot creator. Taking a step back on defense a little bit, but again, when we get later into this draft, I'm going to be able to make that up. So I'm not too worried about it right now.
Okay. Dame is a pretty good pick. I was considering him for point guard, but I was like, there's no way I can pass up Curry if he's on the board
Right.
over Dame. Next pick, let me get Paul George, PG 13. Two-way player, does it on both ends of the floor. He can pop off scoring one night while locking down your best offensive player. Uh, the only thing with him is inconsistency, but if he's having an off night, you know that you're still going to get good defense and like the offensive capability of KD, Curry, Jokic. That more than makes up for whatever inconsistency might be an issue with Paul George.
Here. Dude, is there no like Clipper? This is the best Clipper card we got for Paul George. That's crazy.
Yeah, hurtful. Whatever. But
I could barely see those pictures to try
this
to
would
find a
be
Clipper jersey.
this would be my starting five. Curry at the one, and then really interchangeable between PG and KD at the two or three. It's kind of
Yeah,
positionless. Like anyone can rebound the ball, run it up the floor, create for someone else. So that's kind of like the ideal scenario. But you do have like the power guys in Giannis and Jokic. So
for sure.
this starting
For
five,
sure.
that's yeah, we're running with that.
Cool. Do you want me to organize your starting five? Are you pretty set on the starting five, or
Yeah,
do
I'm
you
set
think
on
it
that
may
starting
change?
five.
Okay. I will organize it then.
Sure.
I'm assuming this is probably going to be
Yeah.
your lineup right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my next pick is also going to solidify my starting five. I went with Dame because I thought I could get this player after him, and I just didn't want to pass up on Dame. I really wanted Paul George. I thought Paul George would be able to slide a little bit, especially since I had the first pick. I didn't think you were going to pick him so early, but I'm going to go with Embiid, and I'm going to start Embiid. There we go, and then let me just organize real quick. I think at this point, my interior presence is just by far better than yours. It's especially on the defensive end. I don't think Jokic is going to be able to guard Anthony Davis or Jokic, and then we're just going to be able to switch that. Giannis is going to guard whoever doesn't have the ball, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. And then, obviously I'll have Dame as my sixth man, but I'm really happy with this Embiid pick. I'm super big on the interior, but he's still able to space out the floor. Every single one of my players in the starting five are going to be able to space out the floor and play elite to average defense. So I'm really happy with what I have right now. And then I have Dame as the sixth man. So I'm happy right now.
That's solid. That's solid. Good pick. I mean, the center position was really just going to be between Jokic and Embiid.
Yeah. But I knew you weren't going to get Embiid because you just picked Jokic. But I could see you picking Embiid just so you could have both centers. Because if you did that, that would have been insane. And I actually would have been extremely mad. Because then at that point, I would have Anthony Davis as my five, and then I would have to draft Bam at some point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Bam would have to be the only option.
And I don't think Bam could guard any of those centers. Even though he's very versatile, I don't think he'd be able to guard any of them.
I mean, his versatility on defense comes from being able to, get switched out, taken out to the 3-point line. His foot speed is good. It's just his interior strength that does not match up with, an Embiid or a Jokic.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good defender, so.
Yeah. But my front court defense right now is actually insane with Kawhi, AD, and Joel Embiid. It's stupid.
Yeah.
My only concern at this point is perimeter defense because I have Dame, Harden, and LeBron. It could end up being a problem, especially since you have, Curry and KD. But like I've been saying, I think I'll be able to fix it a little bit later.
Got you. Oh man, see now this is where it gets a little interesting, where we have a lot of options in who we want to go with. There's two guys I'm thinking of, but I know I'm forgetting other people. For the sake of this, just to kind of speed things up and not take a ton of time, I'm gonna go with Luka.
Okay.
He can be six man coming off the bench, whatever. He'll handle backup point guard duties. Dude's gonna be a generational talent. Even just now, you already know this dude's gonna be a beast, and the way he's playing right now, he is a beast, and he's only gonna get better. I know this is only a current kind of thing, not potentially in their prime, whatever, but he's at the level of these guys in terms of competition. The only thing he's lacking is the defense, which is questionable, but the offensive upside, I'm going to take that.
For sure. No, that's a great pick. I don't think, even though I have Dame, I think there's other good guards that I could get that would be able to slow down Luka. For my team, I have two bigs already. I got a really good guard. Let me take Luka off my draft board. This is tough. I'm debating between two players right now. And I think I'm gonna go Bam. I'm gonna go Bam Adebayo for my second man off the bench.
Okay.
I think after the bigs I have with AD, Embiid, and Bam. After that, the two next best centers are Gobert and Cat. Cat can't play defense as well as any other big.
He's
on
one
my
of the
team,
worst in the
and
NBA.
Gobert will literally be an offensive liability for me,
Yeah.
no matter how good my spacing is. So I think being able to have defensive versatility with Bam coming off the bench, he's starting to get that mid range shot going, but he can bring the ball up the floor. You can play make as well off the bench. I think after this, I'm not really too worried about the center position anymore, and I don't want you to have him either. So I'm going with Bam.
Okay, that's fair. Oh boy, this is a little tough because things are getting a little bit dicey here.
Yep,
Uh,
I knew this would happen too, because like once you get to that bench, like you really got to start filling up some holes.
yeah, I think I'm gonna run with. Oh, this is tough. I'm debating between two guys. They play the same position. Actually, no. Hold up. Let me get DeAndre Ayton.
Wow. Okay.
Let me get DeAndre Ayton because I
Now,
need
now
some.
why are you picking DeAndre Ayton right now?
Because I have a little hole at center that I want to just plug up right away. Uh, and there's like lots of other options for other positions where it's like, 1A, 1B. DeAndre Ayton, he fills a hole because his defense is really good. Like, he was a huge improvement. Like, you could, between 2 years ago and last season, uh, both offensively and defensively. So, rim protector, he can hold his own on the inside. And he's also like, he got a little shot. We saw in the finals.
He
He got a little
does.
hook
He
game
does.
going on. So, I'm more than happy putting him at backup center because like he's not the offensive capability of Cat, not the defensive capability of Gobert. He's like a good midway point, and I don't want to sacrifice either offense or defense. So I'm happy with that selection. You kind of can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting pick. I didn't think. I have DeAndre Ayton on my list. I forgot to mention him with the Gobert and Cat conversation, but he is like a good middle. Like he has good offensive game, but he's also not a defensive liability. Um,
Yeah.
I like that pick. I just my only problem is it with it for you is that I think you picked him too early, and I think you could have picked another player. Um, and that's the player that I'm going to pick next, and he goes by Klay Thompson. This is really going to help me on the defensive end, especially on the perimeter. Um, I really need him for perimeter defense, and because right now my interior is fine at this point because I have AD, Joel Embiid, and Bam. And the other thing I want to add about DeAndre Ayton is that he really struggled guarding Giannis, especially in the finals, even though it's obviously just 6 games and he's so young. Um, but DeAndre Ayton's going to have to match up with. He honestly he matches up pretty well with Bam, but when Anthony Davis or Joel Embiid are on the court, I don't think Ayton's doing anything to stop them at all. Um, that's just my take on that. I think he's still good, but my team I think can score on him. I'm not worried about Ayton. I'm not worried about him. But with the Klay Thompson pick, I get the shooting. He's not. He's more of like I guess, for lack of a better term, utility player for my team because I already have all these like great ball handlers. I don't need Klay to take people off the dribble. I just need him to shoot threes and play defense on really good offensive players like Curry, and I mean you have who else do you have? You have Luka now, Paul George, Kevin Durant. Like I need Klay Thompson for defense, and he can still space out the floor. He gives you 20 points. Obviously, he's not going to be scoring 20 points on my team if you look at the team, but shoots threes, can play defense on your guards. I'm happy with this pick.
Okay. My next pick, uh, you didn't take one of the guys that I was kind of worried about. I'm not even worried about, just kind of considering. Uh, Let me get Bradley Beal. Uh,
Bradley Beal?
Let me get Bradley Beal. This is a dude who is a walking bucket. He was second in scoring for the season, right behind Curry, by like point 0.1 or point 0.2 points.
It was close.
Looking at your front court, besides Clay, or no, your back court, besides Clay, there's no one that can really guard my back court. When you look at Curry, PG, KD, Luca, and Beal, so it's just going to be like, yeah, you have the advantage defensively in the front court, but back court, like, there's nothing stopping any of these guys from just going off and scoring.
For sure.
Because, like, you put up the most elite defense against these guys, they're still going to find a way. And even if they don't, they still have other options to kick to. Because, like you saw with Curry, he was the only offensive, like, player on the Warriors this past season. The entire offense was running through him. He didn't have anyone to defer to.
He's getting like triple
now,
teamed.
yeah, no, when you first surround him with guys like PG, KD, Jokic, if he runs with any of the bench guys, like, now when you double team, like, oh, that's a threat. You can't really do that.
Yeah,
So it's just going to be explosive scoring, and it's like, you can't really stop
yeah,
that. So Bradley Beal just is another weapon in that case.
for sure. That's a good pick. That's a good pick for you. I like Beal, but I love the Paul George pick, especially for defense in the backcourt. But your backcourt defense off the bench is looking pretty sus to me, dude.
That's fine.
And I think this next player that I'm gonna get, he's a solid defender. I would say he's honestly an underrated defender, but he's a great scorer. He won a game against the Nets in the playoffs. I'm gonna go Jason Tatum.
I was debating him too.
I think Tatum is a very underrated. What?
Jay.
Oh, that's why. Weirdo.
He's a little freaky.
But I'm gonna go Jason Tatum, especially off the bench. Clay and Bam are gonna be kind of utility players in a way. They're not really gonna demand the ball. I have Dame, but I need someone else who can create a shot off the dribble and also play some defense. Tatum gives me that. Tatum is also he's developing into a good playmaker. He's not just holding the ball and becoming a black hole. So I think Tatum off the bench is really good.
That's solid, and like you said, the defense especially, like, that's something he's improved in the past season, which was kind of
Yep.
overlooked, I think. He's making strides. He's getting bigger too, which is obviously a huge help.
Yeah, isn't he 6'10"?
He
Something
is
like that?
not 6'10". I think he's like.
I'm pretty sure they
6'8",
said he was
6'9".
6'10".
He might be 6'10", but he's in that
He's
range
listed.
for sure.
He's listed at 6'9",
He's
but
something like
he's
that, though. I don't
6'10".
know. Okay.
Oh yeah, and the other thing I want to say about Jason Tatum for my pick is I could also run small ball lineups with him at the 4.
Oh yeah.
So if you ever go small, I'll have that versatility as well.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. If I were to pick Tatum, he would play my 4, because he has the size and he can spread the floor and all that, which would be pretty neat. So
For sure.
that's a plus. Oh man, this is getting dicey here. I need a forward.
You do need a forward.
I need a forward.
There's 2 guys that I'm thinking for you.
This is difficult.
You really need defense on that perimeter.
Give me Ben Simmons. Offensive liability, but he has elite playmaking ability, high IQ player, and he can guard 1 through 4. Perimeter, interior, whatever. And really, I don't need him to be able to create. Well, it would be nice if he could create if I want to put Luka off ball. But really, the defense is what's going to be nice, and the size is going to be nice. And he can keep the ball moving. If you put the ball in his hands, if I want to run him at point or something, that would be beautiful. If you can set up for others. Because everyone else, like Bradley Beal, Luka Doncic, they can play off ball. Especially Bradley Beal playing with Westbrook this past season and still putting up the crazy numbers that he did. I think he can fit pretty nicely with my bench.
Man. I do not like that pick for you.
That's fine.
I,
That's fine.
I do not. I think even though you have elite offensive players around Ben Simmons, which will just help him flourish, at least in terms of his playmaking. But if you're gonna have Ben Simmons and Luka and Beal, I think Ben Simmons is going to be that third creator. So you're going to have Ben Simmons mostly playing off ball because there's no way you would rather give the ball to Ben Simmons than Luka or Beal, in my
That's.
opinion.
I mean, yeah, you can do that. I'm gonna put the ball in Simmons' hands. Watch Bradley Beal and Luka come off screens and create for themselves ISO, whatever they need to do. Because regardless, they're going to get buckets. Those two are buckets. But having a playmaker and elite defender in Simmons is going to be a huge plus.
You know, I love Luka, but the only thing I'm pessimistic about Luka is his ability to be willing to actually play off the ball. Because and like what makes me think that way is because like I feel like Porzingis should have more, offensive responsibility for the Mavericks, and he's just resorted to a spot up 3-point shooter. And I don't know if that's a Rick Carlisle thing and that's just bad coaching, but I feel like a little part of it maybe do with Luka, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens because obviously they have a new coach in Jason Kidd. But we'll see. That's why I'm a little reluctant about the Ben Simmons and Luka fit. I can see the Beal fit. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Beal fit's good because he played with John Wall. So
Yeah.
I think Beal coming off screens totally makes sense. But at this point, I'm just hesitant about the Ben Simmons and Luka fit.
See, the Luka thing, like, I understand that you're hesitant about him playing off ball, but, like, when have we seen him having to play off ball? Like, he's been the star player
Exactly.
for the Mavericks this whole time. I agree that Porzingis should be taking more offensive, role, but he's, again, I don't know if it's a Carlisle or a Tingus Pingus thing, but he's just standing behind the 3-point line waiting for threes. Like, he's a 7'2" player who just does not want to be in the post. If he was actually content with playing in the post, I'm sure Luka would be more than happy to defer the ball to him from times. But when you have
Right.
a 7'2" just launching threes like he's Klay Thompson, like I understand why you don't want to give him the ball. Because Luka is also
Right.
like, he's putting up his numbers. And so if he had another player, like that's why I kind of like the Goran Dragic fit on the Mavericks. Because that's a ball handler who can take some pressure off Luka and also create for him and create for himself. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Dragic on the Mavs just so I can see
Oh, for
Luka play
sure.
some off ball. But I'm sure he's capable of it because he's been playing basketball his whole life. There's no way he's been the best player on his team since he was a kid. Like he's had to
Right.
learn. Yeah.
For sure. I
Plus
get
coming
that.
overseas, they play a very unselfish brand of basketball and learning ball movement. So I'm not worried about that.
See, okay. And that's like what we say about Harden too, right? Like, or Harden didn't come overseas, but like Harden, like he's not. He's seen as like a ball dominant guard because he scores 30 points and he averages 10 assists.
Hmm.
That's very, very reminiscent of what Luka does as well.
I agree.
So like, if we're gonna sit here and talk about how Luka comes overseas and people overseas or they learn about ball movement, but Luka is very comparable to Harden, and Harden is known as a ball hog. So
I mean,
what?
the thing with Harden is that in his Houston years, the only help he had, where it's like a real other playmaker that can put the ball, like you can put the ball in their hands, was Chris Paul, and
Yeah,
they were that close to taking down the Warriors with KD. So there's potential for it to work. It's just with Harden, like his whole career, aside from like OKC and now being in Brooklyn, we know him for being the ball hog in Houston, putting up crazy numbers, and that worked for him. But
yeah,
I agree they're very comparable. But like seeing him now in Brooklyn, he's a incredible playmaker, and Luka gets his
yeah,
triple doubles with assists too. So they
yeah,
can clearly play make.
for sure. Okay, I'm done harping on that. I'm still not sold on it, but I'm not as down on it as I was. Now this next pick, see, it's really hard because there is a player that has not been picked,
Hmm.
and I could definitely argue is probably better than my Clay like Klay Thompson, Jason Tatum, and Bam. Like he's definitely better than them. And I don't think I'm gonna pick him here either. But we can bring him up on the honorable mention.
I
But
think
for
I
my
know
next
exactly
pick,
what you're talking about.
I think I'm gonna go. Man, I'm debating between two players, and this is to round up my lineup. I still need perimeter. I need some more perimeter defense. I need 3-point shooting. I think I'm gonna go Drew Holiday here.
Okay.
Drew Holiday is one of the best perimeter defenders in our league. Damn, it sucks that he's only an 86 on this card, dude. Everyone else looks so sick.
Yeah.
Just get the blue card. But man, Drew Holiday coming off my bench, and if things get really dicey, I can put him in my starting lineup. And again, like Drew Holiday, he's not gonna have to demand the ball. I'm just gonna simply ask him to shoot threes, maybe take some people off the dribble if he can. But he's super strong for his position. He's going to defend. He's going to be able to defend Curry for sure, or at least be like one of my most capable defenders on Curry. Yeah. It was between him and someone else, but I'm not gonna say his name.
Anything, yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say anything. But I'm gonna organize my team now. Honestly, do you just want to fill out the rosters? Because I think we could keep going.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. All right. Well, instead of doing the 10 picks, we're gonna do 13 picks.
Okay.
So you're on your 10th pick.
Yes. This is tough. There's two guys I'm debating between. I think I'm going to give the nod to Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
I want the defense. I want all the defense. Jimmy Butler, he is one of the grittiest dudes in the NBA. You need to stop, you put him on the ball. At least if you're in the perimeter. Not the greatest 3-point shooter, but he can play make for others. He's pretty solid in the mid-range. He's going to play bully ball. I'm just happy with him guarding on the perimeter and like being a ball moving kind of player.
Mm-hmm.
The fit that like I'm just iffy with the fit between him and Simmons because it's like two non-shooters, especially with 8 and 2, who can't really stretch the floor. But I'm sure they could work it out because the defense is going to be elite.
For sure. That's a good pick. It actually wasn't the player that I was thinking about picking over Drew. But for my next pick, this is the player that I was referring to that I'm surprised hasn't been picked. I'm taking Kyrie.
Oh, I was thinking about someone else.
I am so surprised we have not picked Kyrie, but the reason why I haven't picked Kyrie up to this point is because I have Dame coming off the bench. And I really needed perimeter defense. Kyrie literally does not give me that at all. So I just couldn't pick him. But now that we're extending the picks, I think I can pick Kyrie. Coming off the bench, he's definitely the second best player coming off the bench. But he honestly may not be getting that much playing time. Because I will need that perimeter defense.
All the players that we have right now, like they're not gonna be stuck to whoever they're around right now. Like your starters aren't just gonna play with the other 4 people that they're with. Like you can mix them up.
Yeah.
And play around with it. Yeah. Let's see whatever works. Yeah.
But I get another reason why like this Kyrie pick is good for me. I only have 3 point guards, and I'm using Drew Holiday as an off guard, and James Harden is my starter, so Kyrie just gives me another ball handler at the point guard position. Again, he's not a good perimeter defender, but one of my later picks I think will help him out on that end as well.
Mm-hmm. Let me actually clean up my my 5 right now. Let's put 8 in the center. Yeah.
You want it like that, right?
Switch Luka and Simmons, and actually put.
Jimmy at the 4.
Yeah. Let's just do it the other way you had it. Luka at point, Simmons at 4, Butler at the 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next pick, man.
And to be clear, these last three players probably won't get that much playing time.
Yeah.
Like, if we played a 7 game series, these guys are more of like players where it's like shit ain't working out. You just put them in. Hopefully things work out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like if you realize like, oh, there's something I'm missing, one of your three guys might have it. So, man, there's one guy I'm thinking of. I know I'm forgetting other people. I know I am. I should have made a list, but I didn't think it would be that deep. Actually, let me
I
check
didn't.
my when we made the lists for all NBA teams.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Let me peep those. Where's it at?
You see,
Where
like when I
is
did my
it
list,
at?
I just made a list of names. I didn't like put them in any like particular order. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anyone because like I know for a fact like I probably would have missed Drew Holiday and maybe picked Kyrie, especially since I need perimeter defense. I was just afraid I would like miss a name, so I didn't like
Understandable.
go all out. I didn't go all out where it's like, oh, I'm gonna pick this guy and then this guy, but if this guy gets taken, I'm gonna pick this guy.
Yeah.
The only time you've picked someone that I wanted to pick was I wanted to pick Paul George, but I thought he was gonna go later, so I actually would have picked Paul George before I picked Clay,
Yeah.
but I had to get Clay because you picked Paul George. So
Oh man. There's two guys I'm thinking of. Maybe yeah, no, just two. Let me get my god, this is hard. Okay. Let me get Julius Randle.
Julius, what?
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle?
Julius Randle.
Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no fucking way.
My
Ain't no
guy
way
was
you're
a
picking
bucket this
Julius Randle.
season. He led the Knicks to the fourth seed in the East, um, and didn't come to fruition in the playoffs. But
No.
he was a bucket this season. Uh, I really don't know a whole ton about him on defense at least, but I know offensively like he carries his weight and more.
He's definitely he's been like a pretty good defender, but he's definitely in this last season he was definitely an improved defender compared to past seasons.
Yeah, I think that just comes with like playing another season in the NBA, learning the game more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hamza, I gotta be honest with you, I don't like that pick either.
that's fine.
I think you would have been better off with another shooter. And I'm gonna end up picking this player. This is the player that I was debating between him and Drew. Jaylen Brown.
Wow. Okay.
Um, Again, this is a utility player. Again, I'm not going to ask him to really create any shots, but he's able to do that. He's shown signs to be a capable player to create his own shot. But he's mainly going to be shooting threes and playing defense. And I need perimeter defense. It's probably my only hole at this point in my team. I'm taking Jaylen Brown. But yeah, it was between Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday for me. I simply didn't know if I wanted more size, but I figured once I realized like we were missing Kyrie, I debated on having us fill out the entire roster. And I was like, I can get Jaylen Brown later.
Yeah. No, that's a good pick. Solid player.
If I were you, I would have picked Jaylen over Julius Randle, but that's
Fine.
fine, man. That's fine, man.
You were talking about shooting, and I was like, oh, he's gonna take this dude, but no, you didn't take him. Let me get Devin Booker. Walking bucket. You guys saw what he did all playoffs. He's an improved defender. I think the leadership that he learned from Chris Paul this past season was tremendous. Uh, just learning like how to run an offense, create for others, pick his spots on the floor. He's a beast, and he's only gonna get better. Um, Elite shooter, obviously, so I can swap him out with Jimmy Butler, Simmons if needed. Let Luka take ball handling duties. So really an interchangeable piece between him and Butler. But having him and Bradley Beal on the court at the same time would be insane, and just like having two explosive scoring threats. I don't know if I would do that just because of the like defense, but it would be cool to see.
I'm not mad at that pick. I'm not, especially at this point in the draft. I think that's a good pick. For my very last pick, I got third string guard, where I have Kyrie's going to be my like third backup point guard. He could play the two guard, especially since like Harden is probably the Nets point guard, even though he's technically taller and he's probably considered a shooting guard. Kyrie plays off ball, so he can play the one or two. Jaylen Brown can play the two or three. I kind of want a big man again. And I like the big man that I have with Bam, especially coming off the bench. But I think I need a little bit more offensive creation in terms of centers coming off the bench. I'm going to pick up Towns.
Oh, I was going to take him.
Towns is definitely not a good defender in the interior or perimeter. He's awful on the perimeter. Most centers are, except for the ones that I have right now. But I need Cat for his offensive abilities on the inside post. He's an efficient 3-point shooter. Based off the volume of threes that he shoots and at the efficiency he shoots them at, he's, in my opinion, he's already one of the greatest big men shooters of all time. Whether he's won anything or not, just with how many threes he shoots and how efficient he is, there's just no way you can't say he's one of the best. Dirk is probably still the best big man shooter, but I think Cat is definitely in that conversation. He's at the table. He's at the table for greatest big man shooters of all time.
Are you going to put some respect on my boy, Matt Bonner? Please?
Dude, Matt Bonner shoots threes. He does not shoot mid-range shots. Stop. The thing with Dirk is that he literally shoots every sort of shot, whether it's mid-range or three, and Cat does the same thing.
Yeah.
Not as good as Dirk. I would say Cat is probably a better 3-point shooter than Dirk, but Dirk is the all-around greater shooter because of what he can do, post fades, what he can do in the mid-range. Dirk, especially in his prime when he was quick, he was coming off pin-down screens like a fucking guard and just like shooting off the dribble, pull-up mid-ranges. Like Karl-Anthony Towns can't do that. So like that's why I would say Dirk is probably the best big man shooter, but Karl-Anthony Towns is great just simply based off his volume. But yeah, I'm happy with my team.
Yeah, he shoots at a great clip. And if he gets some help, that would be great. Okay. For my last spot, now I can just kind of openly talk about names. I was thinking Draymond Green as like a small ball 5, but I already have Julius Randle and DeAndre Ayton and Simmons, so that's kind of overkill with that. Man, I have a lot of forwards. That's the thing.
Yep,
all these guys here are forwards except for Ayton.
But you have a lot of versatile. You have a lot. You have a lot. Ben Simmons can play the 4. You also play the 1. Jimmy Butler's the small forward. Yeah.
See, the thing is, like, I'm following the OKC mold where it's just completely positionless basketball. And so that's kind of reflected in my team here. Like, all these guys can play different positions. Like, point Jokic, I'm here for it. For my last pick, I'm debating between Gobert. I considered Chris Paul, but I don't think I need another playmaker. Yeah, let me just go Gobert. If I really need some defense down low, that's going to be my best option. I'm still very content with the centers that I have. I'd rather take the offensive ability of Jokic and like the middle of the road kind of option with Ayton. But if things are just, hitting the wall, then I'll rely on Gobert. I have that would be pretty fun to put like Jimmy Butler, Simmons, Ayton, and Gobert on the floor at the same time. That would be horrible for my shooting, but like just defensively, there's no stopping that. Overall, I think my team could hold its own for sure. Like the defense is solid in patches. We have some like minuses there, but the playmaking, the shot making, and just the high IQ guys, like that's gonna be tough to beat. So I'm happy with that.
I gotta
Now,
be on. This is tough. Do we have any honorable mentions?
I was about to say, like, who are some guys that we considered but didn't put in?
You
I
said
think,
Chris Paul.
yeah,
That
Chris
that's a
Paul.
that's a that's a big name.
Uh,
Trying to
Westbrook, not
think.
really.
What?
I,
Yeah, Westbrook. No, because like if Chris Paul was barely making the cut, like he honestly, if I had another pick, I would probably go Chris Paul
hmm
next because I can play Jalen Brown at the three,
Yeah.
and I can have Kyrie and CP in my backcourt. I would probably pick Chris Paul right after Karl Anthony Towns, but yeah, and the same thing with like Kyle Lowry too. Kyle Lowry has no shot
Not
in
even
this move
close.
at all. Um,
Two guys I kind of went not really back and forth with, but one guy I considered was Donovan Mitchell.
Yep, Donovan Mitchell, Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine I thought about too. They
These are
were
all
guys
guys
who
kind of
I
like on that border.
considered when I picked Bradley Beal. I was like, they kind of fit the same mold, but Bradley Beal is just better offensively. Like, they're not all great defenders, except, like, Donovan Mitchell's probably the best defender out of those three, even though Levine is improving.
Yeah,
But the offensive capability that Bradley Beal brings is, like, it's unmatched.
yeah.
Uh,
Jamal Murray and Trey Young,
those two cross my mind, too, for sure. Uh,
John Morant, Zion.
Zion
Zion
I
didn't
thought
get
about,
picked
too.
either.
I didn't
Zion.
really want Zion.
I think instead of your Julius Randle pick, I think I may have gone with Zion.
I prefer Julius Randle just for the shooting.
I, I don't know. When it comes to the bench, at least like to mine, because like when you look at my bench, I only have one player who's coming off the bench that can't shoot threes.
hmm
Everyone else on my team can shoot threes. Yeah, even just looking at my whole team, Bam is the only player who can't shoot a three.
Yeah.
So like, if I was in your spawn, maybe I replaced Bam with a Randall, right? For whatever reason, I would rather have Zion simply because I think he's better at Randall at literally everything else.
I don't know about that.
Maybe defensively as well. Randall's probably the better shooter and defensive player, but I think Zion is a really underrated passer. Obviously, he's a great finisher around the rim. He can put the ball on the floor just as good as Julius Randle, if not better. Um,
I see again,
and, and,
like,
and, and when you look at all the players on your team, it's like Julius Randle isn't going to have the ball literally every possession or even majority of the possessions. Like, he's most likely going to be playing off the ball anyway.
I know, but it's like just having the ability to anyone on my team can grab the rebound and just go and create for someone else. You don't have to get it to like one guy, have them scan the floor and do all that. Like give it to Luca, Beal, Butler, Simmons. I mean, maybe minus Ayton, Gobert won't even get playing time, but Randall and Booker, like anyone can just grab the ball and go. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I like about the team. Uh,
Do you want to switch up any of your players on the bench?
uh, I no, cause the reserves they're just gonna stay where they are. Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I'm thinking for mine as well.
yeah. But another mention, see, I didn't know if like this was just me being like a little biased, but Shea, you could kind of debate him.
Shay.
If you're debating
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell, you can debate Shea too.
for sure.
He can play the one or the two on or off ball.
Yeah,
And again, another guy that can just grab the ball and go and create for others.
for
He
sure. Yeah,
was,
Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Zach LaVine, Shea. Those are like four guards who are like in that same tier. Like whether you want to argue who's better over the other player, I think they're in that same tier where like you could go either way.
exactly. Uh, if you want to mention Shea, maybe De'Aaron Fox, not really.
Probably not.
He was nowhere near a top 15. I
Yeah,
don't think he's even a top 10 point guard.
he
Uh,
definitely is a top 10 point guard, but
really?
oh, do we want to discuss
Yeah, do
this?
we want to go into this? Okay. Not
All
in
right,
any particular order.
I'm making a Google Doc.
Okay. All right.
We are going to figure this out. We need to discuss this.
I'm going to
There's
go
no way
with
De'Aaron Fox is not a top 10
yeah.
point guard.
Okay.
So
In no
Curry's
particular
first.
order, Curry, Dame, Luca, CP3, Lowry. You want to throw in Shea?
Is Shea a point guard or a shooting guard?
He played point guard all season last year. He can do
Okay.
both, but mainly point guard. Uh,
Are we considering LeBron a point guard? I would say not now since Westbrook is on the team.
yeah, I would take Westbrook over Fox.
That's debatable.
Sure, if you
Or
want
it's
to debate
or it's
it,
a little
but
bit closer than you
uh,
think. That's
and
three,
then
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done. We got. Do you want to
Murray.
throw in Kyrie? Yeah, Murray, Kyrie, Harden.
Okay, we have to pick between Kyrie and Harden.
Yeah, let's just throw Harden. Either one is
Yeah,
better than Fox, but
yes, I would agree.
uh, do we want to consider John Morant? Do we? Oh, Trey Young for sure.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Uh,
maybe you're right.
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4,
Ben
5, 6.
Simmons.
Actually, okay. I think you could debate. I would honestly rather. I don't know, because Lowry, like he has like when he joins the Heat, like he's gonna fit well because he shoots the three. He's a good playmaker and defender. Like he fits well with any team.
Yeah,
But if you're just talking about like individual talent, I think you could argue Fox over Lowry.
you can argue it, but like they're only going to be playing in a team. Like the individual talent isn't really going to show a whole ton. So I would take Lowry over Fox on any team.
Okay.
Simmons.
Who else are we missing? I would take De'Aaron Fox over Simmons.
Are you serious?
I don't care how good Ben Simmons is defensively, dude.
I'm not just
If
talking
if he
defensively.
if what is Ben Simmons better at than De'Aaron Fox on the offensive end?
Playmaking, getting to the basket.
Dude, De'Aaron Fox is hold on. Playmaking fine.
Yeah.
Right? That's fine. But you can't tell me that Ben Simmons is a better finisher than De'Aaron Fox at
When
the
he's
rim.
driving to the rim aggressively, which like we maybe don't see that a whole ton. Like understandable, it's debatable, sure, but I think Simmons is a better finisher because he also has all this size too. Because think about like who's guarding Simmons. You're not putting point guards on Simmons. You have to have a forward on him. De'Aaron Fox, you can put like just a perimeter defender on him, like a good perimeter defender. You need a bigger guy, so a bigger guy means slower. Simmons is fast.
I don't think you can. For me, you can't tell me that Simmons is a better finisher when Simmons is reluctant to even shoot the ball to begin with. Like when
Shooting and
he's
finishing are
only
two different things.
when you make a layup, does that not count as a shot attempt?
Yeah, but is that different than a mid-range shot? Do we
We're talking
consider?
about simply finishing.
Yeah. Okay.
So if De'Aaron Fox goes to the basket more than Simmons and he makes more attempts at the rim, and he is equal or better than Simmons in terms of like efficiency at the rim, you're going to tell me that there's not a significant gap between their finishing. Because you can say, in terms of finishing ability, yeah, they're the same, but Fox shoots way more around the rim than Ben Simmons does.
Well, obviously, who else is going to be taking shots on the Kings? Marvin Bagley? Because Simmons is
But
the second best
but
player on his team.
and he does okay. He's the second best player, and he barely shoots the ball.
Yeah, because you have a guy, you have Joel Embiid in the paint.
And who? And Tobias? Okay.
Yeah, so you're not going to get a whole lot of space at the rim. I'm saying that if you put him on a team where he has the space, he's going to be a better finisher.
But
He's.
we can't do what ifs.
I'm not saying it's not exactly a what if. Like
If he had better spacing, yes, he would shoot more around the rim. But he doesn't.
Okay. And I'm also talking about like you talk about the more attempts you make more shots. Yeah. De'Aaron Fox, he has the ball in his hands a whole lot more. He's the one taking the shots on the team, like someone has to score. For Philly, that's Embiid. So I don't think you can compare that. Efficiency, sure, you can look at that. I mean, it's debatable. I get what you're talking about. I'm just saying that like it can go either way. I'd rather have
I
Simmons, and that's not even talking about the defense.
I think De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, Ben Simmons has the versatility. He can guard 1 through 4. In terms of guard defense, I think Fox is one of the best in the league. And it's quite unfortunate that he's rotting in hell in Sacramento.
He's in the shadows, dude. Poor guy.
I really hate it. The only bad thing in De'Aaron Fox's game is his shooting. He's not a good pull-up shooter, especially not the three. He's not very good in the mid-range either. He's okay with like catch and shoot situations, but he's not the greatest. It's simply the shooting for De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else, he's an elite playmaker. He's a great defender on the perimeter. He's insane. I will have to find the stat that I saw on Instagram about his finishing ability around the rim. But he's literally good at everything else except shooting. And you can say the same thing about Simmons. And with me, De'Aaron Fox, I would just rather have De'Aaron Fox because just as a number one option, he's way more willing, to shoot the ball and take hold of the game. Like Ben Simmons, like you can put the ball in his hands and you could surround him with great players, but he's not the one. He's going to create the issue, but he's not going to finish it. He's just going to pass it to someone.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. But when we're talking about finishing, like when you're just going to pass the ball up when you're under the rim more often than actually shooting the ball under the rim. I don't know, man.
I agree. There's an issue, but just you have two very similar players in their skill set. One of them is 6'10" and lightning fast. The other one is like 6'3" and lightning fast. Like I want the dude that's 6'10" and a better defender.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. But is there any other point guard that we're forgetting? How many guys is this? 1, 2, 3, 4,
I think
5,
it's 11.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, Fox is 11. So he's like borderline, but he's not quite top 10.
Dude, where? I'm trying to find.
We'll just worry about it later.
No, I found it.
Okay.
So he averaged 18 drives a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he shot 68.8% at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
He would draw 7.4. He would shoot 7.2 free throws a game. So what's that? 3 or 4? 3 or 4
trips the
fouls.
line?
Trips the line. I'm sorry, but Ben Simmons isn't doing that.
I mean, again,
even when he's driving to the rim, he's not drawing the fouls. And if he does, it's not because he's a good finisher, it's because he can't shoot.
Okay. I'm still going to take Simmons over Fox. Like the stats, yeah, Fox is going to be more productive on the offensive end because he's just more willing to shoot and like take fouls and all that stuff. But defensively, like Ben Simmons is one of the best defensive players in the league, which I think that counts for something.
It does, but I don't know, man. I would just rather have Fox because even though he's not a good shooter, he's a more willing shooter. So,
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
At least at that point, you have to respect it. So I'll give him that.
Yeah. And the thing with his De'Aaron Fox's drives per game, to put it in perspective, he was 4th in the NBA in drives per game. And the efficiency is insane. Shooting pretty much 69% at the rim as a guard is stupid. Yeah. Especially for how many times he goes to the rim a game. That's centers. That's DeAndre Jordan lob city efficiency.
Yeah.
Because DeAndre Jordan was like 70% from the rim. And that's off lobs. De'Aaron Fox is creating his own room, and he is driving to the rim with no help.
He is a bucket indeed.
You could say Simmons is better, but Fox is, in my opinion, by far better finisher than
It's
Simmons.
Debatable. I agree. He's a better, yeah. He's a better. I don't know if it's by a whole lot, but
yeah,
it's debatable.
Okay. I'm done talking about that. Other player I just thought about being snubbed possibly is Vucevic or even DeMar DeRozan as well. But again, it's just like when you only have this many spots, like they're just not going to get picked. Like especially like when you think about fit, like when you want defense on your team, you're not going to pick DeMar DeRozan or Vucevic. Like,
Absolutely.
it was the same reason why I picked Cat last. Is like, at this point, like, I have the defense in the interior. I just simply want offense in the interior. So that's why I'm picking Cat. And he's not even going to get that much playing time. So
The thing with DeRozan is, what does he bring? He's a mid-range player who's elite in the mid-range. Like, that's cool, but if you're a forward, you should be able to stretch the floor. And
yeah,
like I say that, I say that while I have Jimmy Butler on my team, but Jimmy Butler provides elite defense.
yeah,
So it's
and
like,
he's just as good as a playmaker.
exactly. Uh,
I
anyone we're
didn't.
forgetting?
Hmm. Let me look at the teams. Sometimes if I look at the teams, I can think of a player. What, Kuzma? What about Kuzma?
If we're making a team for like the Shanghai Sharks, yeah.
Yo, dude, I remember on Twitter, like, there was like a period of time where, like, if any player had some sort of mediocre game, it was just automatically
Oh
Photoshop that
yeah.
player in a Shanghai Sharks
Oh
jersey.
yeah.
I fucking love that shit. Like, Kemba Walker, like, shoots 30% from the field. Oh, he's going to the Shanghai Sharks. And like, people were like making meme posts where it's like, will the Shanghai Sharks compete for an NBA championship? And it's like Kemba Walker, Kyle Kuzma, Porzingis. It's all these people who underperform in the playoffs. It's like, yeah, he's pretty funny, dude.
Another dude that's worth mentioning. I'm glad you just said it. Kemba. When he's healthy, he's a bucket. It's just we
Kemba,
haven't
yeah,
seen him healthy.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's another name we didn't have on our point guard list, but I think I would pick De'Aaron Fox over Kemba.
I think I would take Kemba over him. But again, it's just the health that's an issue.
Yeah, no, no. D'Angelo Russell,
Nah.
no, not at all. Brandon Ingram,
I thought about
Brandon Ingram,
him, but no.
Brandon Ingram would be like, I think he would be really close to like where we would pick like Chris Paul, because he's a solid defender, kind of create his own shot, and he's a really good 3-point shooter. But yeah, I think
The
he shot
way I
close to
saw
like forty
Ingram,
percent, but
it was like he's just a worse version of Booker.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But that's why like I would say like he's like obviously he didn't get picked, but I think he's pretty close.
Sure. Yeah, I
But I
mean he
also
is an
think
all-star.
there is a significant gap between Booker and Ingram though.
For
Like
sure.
that's not debatable to me.
Yeah.
I think that's like the main players we're missing. Maybe Miles Turner, like, because I mean I picked Drew Holiday over like Kyrie, but like that's not me saying I think Drew Holiday is better than Kyrie. I think Kyrie's better than Drew, but just based off what I needed for my
Yeah.
team, I obviously picked Drew. But I think God, what was I even saying?
I'm talking about Miles Turner.
Yeah, like with the Miles Turner thing, like if fit was really like a point of emphasis, like I maybe would have picked Miles Turner over Cat because Turner can space out the floor. Not as good as Cat, but Turner is by far a better defender than Cat. So
Dude, you know who we forgot?
who?
Chris Middleton.
Oh my god.
Cash Chris.
Batman, Chris Middleton?
Yeah.
Batman?
That man.
Yeah, Chris Middleton's definitely better than Ingram.
Yeah,
Um
for sure. I
yeah,
don't think I don't think I'd
he
take
would
him
miss the
over.
cut for me.
Yeah, because I don't think I'd take him over Booker, even though his defense is better. It's just Booker is the thing with Chris Middleton is he's inconsistent.
Hmm.
I sent you that thing on Instagram the other day. It's like he's either Batman or like a prime MJ or just like he's overrated.
G League player.
Yeah,
For sure, dude. Yeah. He is very inconsistent. But assuming that he is consistent, or at least like
oh
what he
he's
was this year in the playoffs,
he's
because
good.
even though he was still inconsistent this year, he wasn't as bad, and he showed up like in the big moments. So even though like if you look at the end stat sheet, and he has like really bad field goal percentage, like when you look in the fourth quarter, like he made big shots.
Yeah, like if you just look at the
Ultimately, that's what
finals
matters.
and against the Clippers, like, he was good. or not the Clippers. Who am I? The
The
Nets.
Suns
There we go.
or the
Nets and
Nets.
Suns. Yeah, those two series, like he was crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I think that kind of just rounds it up right there.
All right. What's your opinions on my team? Do you think my team is better or worse than yours?
I think you have some good pieces. Um, I think my starting lineup is better, just because I have like the offense and the defense minus Jokic. And like Curry, he holds his own. He's not doing anything crazy, but like same thing with LeBron. I think he just has the size. So you have elite defenders in PG, or I have elite defenders in PG. Giannis that kind of outweighs the defense of your starting lineup, but your bench might be a little better. It's just I don't know how my pieces would fit together. Like it could work. It's just I have to play around with it, see what it looks like.
Yeah,
Let me look at your
I
team
think
again.
yeah,
I like the Tatum pickup. Clay, I thought about him at first, but I didn't want him just because like he's strictly 3 and D. He's like the best 3 and D player in the league. I don't see him creating a whole lot for himself, which is like I,
and
I
that's what I
do.
need.
Yeah,
That's what
if
I
that's
need.
what you need, that's cool. But same thing with Drew Holiday. He's very inconsistent too. Like he's
Yeah,
not gonna put up crazy numbers. If he does, it's very rare. You're like
he,
offensive
and and
players on.
and that's why I can just switch it with Jalen Brown because
I
Jalen
mean,
Brown is
sure,
really good, and he
yeah,
is definitely more consistent than Drew. I would obviously be taking a step back a little bit on defense, but Jalen Brown is still a really good defender.
yeah. The size is nice, but offensively, like your only threats from your bench, at least the way I see it, is Dame and Tatum. Uh, if you're chasing screens and like guarding the 3 point line, Clay is a non-issue. It's just the on-ball defense for Tatum and Lillard that's going to be a problem.
I think I think for my team, I'm like so like I have so many options of like what I can do. Like I think my interior, I would say my starting lineup is better than yours simply because I think having Jokic and Curry on your team in terms of the defensive end is just going to be a no go for you because in terms of guard play, Curry is going to have to guard LeBron, Harden, or Kawhi. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but no matter what Curry does, it's not going to work. Like nothing is, and then not as bad for Jokic in this case, but Jokic is going to have to guard Anthony Davis or Embiid because Giannis has to guard one of these guys.
I mean, yeah, but I can say the same thing about who's going to guard PG, Curry, KD, or Giannis. Because nobody's going to guard Curry. Like, Harden has to guard someone. Who's he going to be?
That's true. So for my team, I would probably have. Hmm. If anything, I would probably have. I'd probably put Harden on Curry, and I put LeBron on PG.
Really? I was thinking you'd put Harden on PG, LeBron on KD, and Kawhi on Curry or something. Or switch LeBron and Kawhi.
I would want. I think Kawhi could give it again because this is like my understanding with Kawhi is that he doesn't have to have that much of an offensive load to the point where like he's going to be depoy. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is depoy Kawhi because he doesn't have to take that much offensive responsibility, which is why I think he's taken a step back from defense is because he has to take more of an offensive responsibility. So like in this case, like I want Kawhi on KD because he will be the best defender on either of our teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that I would want Kawhi. I think I could change Harden and LeBron. Like, they could switch on either Paul George or Curry. I think either way. Um, I honestly may put Harden on PG and then have LeBron on Curry just to have like a big body on Curry, um, and extra height, I guess. But Curry's a hard guard. Um, but that's why I have these guard players: Drew Holiday, Clay, Jalen Brown. Like these, like if things get really bad, like when LeBron's off the bench on the bench, and I have one of three of these guys, like and Curry's still on the floor, like I'll have some perimeter defense. So
But
I
that's the
think I can make
thing.
up for it.
Yeah, like if you put Holiday or Thompson in place of like Harden or LeBron for defense, like where are you going to get your playmaking from?
Well, see, I can also like throw lineups where like Joel Embiid is off the bench, and I could put LeBron at the 4, and I can still have to start Kawhi, and then like I could have like a Drew Holiday like start, right?
Yeah.
And then I could just have Drew Holiday on Curry. Like my team is easily manageable, and then I could run like super huge lineups where I have, James Harden at the 2 or at the 1, have Klay Thompson here, LeBron, and then even like I could be so huge to the point where I could do this, and I would feel comfortable because AD can guard 1 through 4,
Yeah.
or at least like be pretty good at it. The same thing with Joel. Like Joel isn't a bad perimeter defender whatsoever.
Again, my only qualm with that is like where is your offense going to come from? Because I can lock down
From the
Kawhi and
interior.
Harden.
You
I
can't
guess.
you cannot double Anthony Davis or Joel.
Yeah, I know, but like, are you just going to go into the post the whole game with those two guys?
I can. You can't guard it.
Is that efficient? You think you're going to just play them post the whole time? Because
I'm
Giannis
not
is
going
going
to
to
play
be
in the
on one
post
of
the whole
them.
time, but it's gonna be a bucket for me. It just is, because if you send a double, I have literally shooters everywhere other than Bam. Everyone can shoot.
I guess, but I don't know.
For your team, it's so easy for me to double because Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Julius Randle, and Gobert.
Well, those two aren't even
All,
going to
all
play.
okay, yeah. So they're not going to play. So if 2 of your 5 players off the bench, one of them doesn't even shoot, and the other one is not a good shooter, especially at the volume, like I don't have to worry about these guys. So what are you going to run an 8-man lineup? Like,
No, I'm
because
saying like
I have such good players to the point where like you having this many holes on offense, it's going to be a problem. And even though Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler are great defenders, Luka and Beal are not at all.
I mean, keep in mind
Your
that you're
perimeter defense off the
comparing
bench is not good.
you're comparing your starters to my bench players too.
No, I'm comparing my here. Let me fix it. I think. Look, I have Clay, Tatum, and Holiday for perimeter defenders. Even Bam, to a certain extent.
Sure, sure.
I have 4 positions who could guard your perimeter players. Luka is not going to be able to guard Dame or Drew. He'll be able
Maybe
to
Drew.
be able to guard Drew better, but Drew is, I think, stronger than Luka to the point where even though Luka may be taller than him, I think Drew Holiday is just such a strong guard that like the size difference or the height difference won't matter.
See, I get that. I agree your defense on the bench is better, but your only playmakers again are Lillard and Tatum. Like I don't see Holiday as
Bam
much
is
of a
also a
playmaker.
playmaker. Bam, when he plays for the Heat, he has a lot of playmaking responsibilities as well.
I
And
don't
same
know.
thing with Cat. Dude, Cat averages like 3 or 4 assists a game.
I mean, the whole offense is running through Cat too, so like obviously he's gonna be getting
But
some
does
assists.
that discredit that he's a good playmaker? I mean, Blake Griffin is a good playmaker. Whether
Right
he's
now or in
averaging
the past?
he's dude, when Blake Griffin is averaging 4 or 5 assists, right? As a power forward for his position,
Hmm.
that's really good, right? Whether he has most especially now when he's playing for the Nets and he doesn't have that much responsibility, he's still a good playmaker, even if he's not averaging 3 or 4 assists.
Okay.
Assists don't mean you're a good playmaker. That's like when people say Westbrook is the best passer in the league because he leads the league in assists every
Yeah.
year. That's not the case.
Yeah.
So Bam can average 4 assists. Tatum could Tatum again. You're saying Tatum is a good playmaker, and I agree with you, but he doesn't average that many assists, right?
Yeah. Because he's the first option on the team, so he's gonna be the one getting the buckets.
Yeah, but I still have Dame. I have Clay. I have people who are capable of making their own shot. Like I have 3 players on my bench out of the 5, right? that can create their own shot.
Who?
Include
Dame, Tatum, and who?
Dame, Dame, Drew, and Tatum.
I don't really see Holiday making his own
He's
shot
not
a whole
he's
lot.
not like insane, but he not like okay, maybe not like off the dribble and shooting, but like getting to the back, getting to the hoop. Like I think Drew Holiday is good at getting to the hoop.
Sure. Yeah.
Like and I would consider that being able to get your own shot, being able
Yeah.
to maneuver your way around screens and get into the paint and do a little floater. That
Yeah.
I would consider that creating your own shot. I think Drew Holiday is good at that. And again, if that doesn't work, if Drew Holiday isn't doing good, I literally have Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no doubt in my mind that Kyrie can get his own shot. When it comes to you, yes, you have Luka and Beal. These guys can get their own shots. And you also have Booker, who can get their own shots. But when you look at my defense on the perimeter coming off the bench, I have Drew Holiday, Klay Thompson, Tatum, Bam to a certain extent, and Jaylen Brown. I think my perimeter defense coming off the bench can match up with your offense coming off your bench. And I think I will be able to exploit your holes on offense when it comes to the lack of shooting from Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler.
In that case, I just swap in Devin Booker and Julius
That's
Randle.
fine. And
Yeah,
and you will be taking more steps backwards on defense.
that's fine. Because I can always
And
switch out guys from the starting lineup. Like, and again, Rudy Gobert is there too. So
that again, like what you said, like my bench is better. Like you thought my bench was better. I think if anything, like our starting lineup is like equal, right? Because like we can interchange shit, right? Like
yeah,
in terms of matchups, and you can just call it a wash, where it's like okay, it could go either way. But because I think I can exploit your bench more than you can exploit mine, I think my team is better than yours.
I mean that's where I don't think our starting lineups are very equal. I think my starting lineup is better, which is where I'm gonna that's gonna be my bread and butter. Because you have two unstoppable offensive players in Curry and KD. Like no matter who you put in front of them, they're gonna drop buckets. If Harden has to guard someone, Giannis and PG are still very capable of scoring. Like it's just pure offense on the the starting lineup, and like there's defensive capability too, but maybe not to your extent. But still, like someone has to score. Good offense beats good defense, or better offense beats good defense.
Who's Kevin Durant gonna guard?
KD can guard LeBron. He can guard Kawhi. Either one of those two.
I like my chances against Curry, Durant, and Jokic.
Okay.
Paul George and Giannis. I like those. I'm very jealous you have Paul George because Paul George honestly probably would have made if I had Paul George I may not even have Embiid,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm mad about the Paul George pick, but I like my chances on my matchups of Curry, Durant, and Jokic because Durant is like a good defender, right? But when you only have two elite defenders starting, because you're not going to interchange anyone on your bench into your starting positions, right? Like this is just
Yeah,
going to
no,
be your
my
starting.
starters are set.
Yeah. So like, I think it's going to be hard for Kevin Durant. He's a good defender, but when he has to guard either LeBron or Kawhi, right? Because Paul George is most likely. Who are you going to put Paul George on?
PG will probably guard Harden.
Okay, so you have PG on Harden and KD on LeBron.
KD on LeBron, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think. I don't think. Well, the thing with LeBron,
Actually, no, I'd probably have to put Curry on
you would have to put Curry
Harden.
on Kawhi.
I'll put
Or
Curry
yeah,
on Harden, yeah. Because like you were saying, like Kawhi is just going to be simply defense, so I don't even have to worry about him all that much. I can put KD on him, PG on LeBron.
So, Okay, and then you would have Paul George on Kawhi.
No, either
And then
LeBron.
okay,
Yeah.
but it's interchangeable, honestly.
Yeah, like that. I can just switch around. Whoever's not going to be carrying the offensive load is going to get guarded by Curry. I mean, I'm going to put Curry on Harden regardless, just because like the sizing, that's how it would work. But PG, KD, I can kind of flip flop those two with LeBron and Kawhi. I can even have Giannis guard one of them. That's not really a
Okay,
problem.
and then again, who is going to guard Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid if you switch Giannis onto
I
someone?
might put KD on Davis because
Dude, that's not going to work. That's literally going to
what's
be.
AD gonna do? Take fadeaways the entire time? Where's Embiid gonna go? You can double that.
Dude, but everyone on the floor can shoot.
Embiid is not the greatest 3-point shooter.
This MVP season that he had, yes, he was.
It's one season. I'm taking into account like their whole careers right now. Are we just looking at this
What?
past season?
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
we're looking at current
I'll
NBA.
take my chances. I'll take my chances.
My headphone died. Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, man. I I
I'd
think
like to see it
three.
play out, but I'll take my chances. I think my
I
starting
will.
lineup is fine.
I will set this up in 2K. I will record it, and actually, I may just put it at the end of the podcast and see what happens.
Okay.
I may just edit it in there, you know.
All right.
We'll see what happens. I think I won. I think my team is better than Hamza's. I think my team is far more versatile. I have shooting everywhere except for Bam. I have, I can, I can have lineups to the point where I could guard every position really good, and I think I could take advantage of Hamza's lack of spacing off the bench.
Could be. Could be.
Yeah, man, that was fun. I like that. We had some heated arguments.
Yeah.
We
That
brought
was.
Kyle Kuzma into the
Yeah,
conversation.
Kyle Kuzma should not have been mentioned in this episode. But if you guys are still here, we're sorry. You probably have some bad stuff going on for you to be tuning in this long. So best of luck to whatever you're dealing with. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. Stay tuned for probably next week. That's gonna be a banger. It'll be fun.
Yeah, man.
Uh, if we
Like and
can
subscribe. Follow us on our social medias. I'll have
plug the
linked in the description.
socials, yeah, Instagrams and snaps and whatnot.
If you have any ideas of what you guys want us to talk about, make sure to put it in the comments. Make
Please.
sure to share the video with your grandma. And if you DM us on Instagram with videos of you asking your grandma to follow us, it would be greatly appreciated.
Oh,
We love the support.
We'll put that in the video.
Yeah,
We'll edit
I'll
it.
literally put it in the pod, like very beginning.
Yeah, no cap, no cap. Once again, if you guys hit 50 likes, we'll make an OnlyFans, non-negotiable, Alex.
I know.
So blow this video up. Do what you gotta do. You guys take care. We'll catch you in the next one.